Welcome to the Productivity Podcast. I'm delighted today to be joined by Doug Field, CEO at East of England Co-op. Hi, Doug. How are you?
Hi, Simon. Yeah, good. Thank you. And you?
Yeah, good. Enjoying the rain. I know we were just talking about the weather off air. It's a rainy day recording, and I know you're praying for sunshine. I think we'd all take a little bit at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good for trade.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. We'll get into that in a second. But Doug, tell us a bit about yourself. Currently CEO at East of England Co-op, as I've said. But what does your career look like to date?
Yeah, so I'm Doug, CEO of the vibrant and dynamic East of England Co-op. We're a society that's thrived for over 150 years and looking to continue to grow with passion and purpose. So I think my career that's brought me to the Co-op is quite a varied one. I'm probably not great for your listeners, Simon, but I'm an accountant by trade. And had a varied career at PricewaterhouseCoopers, it then was, or PwC as it is now. Also worked for a company called Christie Group that did commercial estate agency stock taking. But yeah, worked all over the country really, and ended up in East Anglia, being part of the East of England Co-op. Joined as a sort of financial controller, and sort of came up through the ranks to be the CEO. And I think, but what sets us apart as an organisation is our commitment to our members, who are the sort of lifeblood of being a cooperative, really.
Absolutely. And for those that maybe live a bit more northerly in the country, could you just give us a kind of sense of breadth where your patch ranges from and to, number of stores, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we take immense pride, Simon, in being the largest independent retail business in East Anglia, with over 200 trading outlets across 70 diverse towns and villages in Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex, and Cambridge in 2 weeks' time. So that's good. We're more best known for our food stores, which are in the sort of convenience top-up shopping space. But we also have over 50 funeral branches. And so we've got 124 food stores. And then we've got petrol filling stations. We've got a stonemasonry business. We've got travel business. So we've got a really big investment property portfolio as well.
And for those that aren't familiar with kind of the society model versus co-op group, how does that relationship work?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and one that I'm used to answering really from lots of people. So we are part of a cooperative movement buying group, which helps us source our products. So Co-op Group are, as you allude to, the ones that most people are aware of. They have a blue fascia. They're worth around 7 billion of food buying. The independent societies contribute over 2 billion. So together it just sort of increases our buying purchasing power so that we can buy goods together to allow us to be competitive in what is a challenging and competitive marketplace in the sort of food retail in the UK.
So you buy product. I think your fascia is green as well, isn't it? So there's some as a walk-in customer, I'd see a difference in terms of logo and colour. Uniform slightly different as well, and then you sell some of those co-op products. But then are you in control of the rest of the store, the layout, and the other things, or is there a set?
Yeah, no, we are in control of layout, range. Well, not range, sorry. Elements of range, space, how we set the store out. Yeah, that is all under sort of our control. We've got some guidelines to sort of work together to have a little bit of consistency across the movement. But yeah, no, we are an independent business, so we do have a lot of freedom and lots of elements.
Excellent. So with that must come some challenges as well. So let's kind of, I suppose, get into the meat of the conversation. What's it like? So you're sat there, you've got lots of members, some amazing colleagues that we've worked with as well. So managing a modern supermarket convenience chain, what does that feel like, and what are some of the things that give you immense joy and pride, and some of the things that keep you up at night?
Well, I think the first thing you've got to think about is your customers and colleagues, isn't it? So I mean, changing customer preferences, how they respond to the sort of the economic situation, what competitors are doing, that's a big part of what we've got to be adaptable for and agile for. We've got and then we've got to look after our colleagues as well. And I think if we get the colleague and customer bits right, that drives the sort of commercial success. So, but to do all of those things there's so many facets to running a convenience store. Not only have you got your physical location, you've got the technology you put inside, you've got the people, the processes, you've got to think about supply chain, sustainability, your brand, your reputation, and then there's all the factors outside your control. One of the big ones that sort of kept us awake at night recently is sort of energy prices and the the impact that has on our business. And then there's some of the regulations we've got to deal with. So there's just so many facets of a supermarket convenience business, and even just the technologies, so many little bits, or not little bits, big bits that you've got to get in place to sort of drive that customer and colleague experience, really.
So lots going on, and I know we've been doing some work with you for a while now, but you're on quite a modernisation journey in terms of some of the technology, some of the people, some of the ways of working, and I think we're gonna call this is the tail wagging the dog or the dog wagging the tail in terms of the podcast title. How do you get that in the right order? Because there's clearly lots to go at.
That's a good question. You asked about some of the challenges. I think one of the big challenges that we face, and I think businesses generally face, is getting that prioritization and alignment, getting everyone working in the same direction. Is a tail wagging the dog or is a dog wagging the tail is such a important part of that journey, and getting that prioritization and alignment comes back to me is to making sure we're solving the right problem and answering the right question. And sometimes you've got to take a bit of a leap of faith. So I think there's it's a bit of both, really. I think because we know what retailers are doing, but a lot of it is still down to the basics, isn't it? You got to plan, you got to move your stock, and you got to fill your shelves. So we've got to work out what's the best way to do all of those things and make sure we've got the right operating model, and using technology as a facilitator rather than the driver for some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And cost is clearly a massive challenge. Everybody we speak to, work with, have conversations. That pressure of national living wage and designing to give people a better lifestyle and kind of force that, dropping the boundaries potentially to a lower age level, that just brings inherent incremental cost each year that you have to absorb. Or is this part of the modernisation journey to find some of those efficiencies to unlock?
Yeah, absolutely. And you've helped us on that journey by really, really digging into the task in store, how we do things, and what are the ways to improve those. What are the areas that we can? One of our key strategies is to simplify, to make things easier and simpler for colleagues, members, and customers. And by doing that, we can free resources up to invest in other things. So anything we can do to simplify our operation, and I think simplify is one of those is actually is one of those things that's easy to say but so difficult to deliver. To simplify things is such a challenge, and I think that's what we've got to get to, and that's what we're working to through our modernization program, dealing with the sort of how we create our operating model, extending our plan, being more proactive and intentional about how we achieve that, rather than a sort of historic knee-jerk, we've got a budget challenge, let's try and fix it, and being more structured and more disciplined to that approach.
Yeah, and it comes with those challenges, isn't it? I think ways of working is always a tricky one. If you've got a very transient population of colleagues and workforce, clearly there's a challenge because you're continually training people and people don't stay. If you've got a heritage of lower labour turnover and some great colleagues that have stayed, again, it's difficult to change those ingrained habits, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Part of getting change landed is about the people, isn't it? If you don't have their support and acceptance, then you're not going to deliver you're not going to create the conditions for success, really. And we're working hard to try and get them actively participating in that transformation process. Our chief operating officer's put some really good disciplines in place. We have managers in action. We're starting to do listening groups, which was trying to help get that crucial buy-in and reduce resistance to change, and therefore increase the chances of success.
And change, it's interesting because, again, speaking to lots of organisations, there's this kind of ongoing rhetoric around people's ability to embrace change and deal with change. And I'm kind of suppose it, certainly from a retail hospitality point of view, at the point of if you're not continually changing, then that's probably when you should start to worry, not we keep changing. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. You've got to, I think the pace of change is, it's described as relentless. And I think that's the way of the world now. And I think that sort of being adaptable to do that and getting the right people who are willing to do that is absolutely vital. And I think you've got to continue to sort of adapt and change your ways of working to match the changing customer preferences, really, because they're the ones who pay the bills.
Absolutely. And as we've seen with, unfortunately, some other retailers across probably the last 6 or 7 years, for those that didn't change, it brings real challenges, doesn't it? And they get bought by others and kind of consolidated, or actually don't exist any longer. So that I suppose proofs in the pudding that, relentless change is the norm. If there is no change, that's probably the time to worry.
I think that's absolutely right. And it's I think, just some of this technology is so indispensable as part. We can't operate without technology these days, and that's quite a big change over the last sort of 10, 20 years, I think, really, where it was possible to do that, but you've got to sort of keep pace, otherwise you can't simplify your operations and you can't meet customer needs.
Absolutely. So the modernisation work that's been happening and that will continue to happen, what kind of opportunities is that going to open up for kind of store colleagues and customers?
I think it's hopefully, it will, because of we're in a position where we've got the technology is so scalable that the fixed cost base is there, so we can scale our business now and grow our number of food stores without a significant impact on that sort of fixed cost base and those central costs. Mm-hmm. So that provides opportunities. And if we can grow our business, then that provides opportunities for, obviously, to reach new customers. It also allows opportunities for colleagues to grow and develop, because new stores brings new opportunities and promotion opportunities for them. And we're also doing a lot in terms of cross-fertilizing the sort of central teams with people from stores and vice versa, and doing a lot to sort of build those bridges, which can be historically very not decisive and very like barriers to creating that sort of cohesive team environment.
Yeah, I think it's always, isn't it? It's easy to sit in the office and assume what happens on the floor and what customers are thinking, but then when you get those people that come in and people then go out into stores, you get that real essence and understanding of what actually happens versus the theory.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you mentioned at the start, kind of new store in Cambridge. Is it Cambridgeshire Way?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
in the next couple of weeks. So,
yeah,
is that part of the future plans in terms of a geography spread, or will it be more stores in the kind of same area? Are there new types of stores that are coming? What are all those future plans?
We haven't, we've only opened two real new stores in the last few years, so we've really got to sort of that's not going to help us grow our business. So we've got to do two things really, Simon. We've got to grow our new food stores, and we've got to be take a long hard look at the stores that are underperforming as well. So yeah, we want to reach new customers. So that is about new geography and new opportunities. We're not, depending how you define East Anglia, we've still got a little bit of way to go. We can't go too much further east because we come to Holland rather than East Anglia. So
maybe there's an opportunity. You never know.
You never know. Yeah, I don't think our logistics partners will be over the moon about that one. So, but there are the East of England, East Anglia is a growing is a growing area. There are opportunities, but you've got to seek them out. We've got a really good team looking for new food stores, but the economic conditions make that challenging. Construction costs are increasing, so therefore housing isn't going up now maybe as quick as they thought it would a few years ago, which when you're looking at new developments slows down when you want to open your convenience store. Yeah. So still lots of, even with that sort of expansion program, there's lots of challenges and lots of like lots of things in business, is a bit of a roller coaster.
And I assume lots of other businesses are doing the same. I know certainly in kind of drive-through world, it's a premium at the moment. So you've got, McDonald's, Costa, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, Greg's even are looking at those prime spots. So the price just spirals because it becomes almost a bidding war. Yeah, no, we definitely seen that as well. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, because in our investment property portfolio, we've got a couple of Greg's locations, which is it's good. But yeah, it is absolutely it is, and it's not, as you rightly say, it's not you're not competing just against convenience food retailers nowadays. You're competing against drive-through operations with a different operating model.
Yeah, it's a there's always lots to think about.
Yep, and again, I don't think that'll ever change. It'll just mean we have different things or more things to think about. So before we finish, Doug, if you could kind of cast your mind forward maybe 5 years, what would your hopes be for the society, your customers and colleagues?
Well, we want to be the best we can be, and so we want to be the best in the food business. We want to be the best convenient food retailer in the location. So that's for me about delighting our customers and exceeding their expectations. We want to make our colleagues' lives as easy as possible so they can deliver the best possible service. And I think from an overarching society perspective, I'd love to see us having a lot more stores, reaching the 150 mark, reaching new customers and expanding what we do. And I think because our aim is to use our profit to make a positive local impact, the bigger we become, the more positive impact we can have on the region and the communities in which we serve. So that's where I'd like to be in 5 years. So
Amazing, amazing. Well, having worked with you and the team, I'm absolutely confident that you'll achieve those goals. But great to hear from you. And final question from me: you've worked in kind of various organisations. So you talked about accounting, PwC, clearly East of England Co-op. What's the best bit of business advice that you've been given that's kind of stuck with you?
oh,
It's a
that's
tricky
a
one
good
on the
question.
spot.
No, that's a good one. That's a good question. I think continually to be curious and ask questions, because I think I said it earlier in the podcast about part of the challenge with technology is solving the right problem, and that's about asking the right questions. And I suppose to put it in a real sort of, and this isn't necessarily the best piece of advice, but I think it's a good piece of advice in that context is in a technology context is are you a vitamin or a painkiller? So vitamin is good for you, but is not necessary. And a painkiller is something that really sort of makes a real difference to something. And that sometimes is a good way to. So vitamins are still good for you, but just over the long term. And painkillers are sort of things you should be investing in straight away to sort of help people. So I quite like taking that sort of lens on things sometimes as a way to help make decisions and make sure you're getting the right prioritization and the right projects, which is, as we said, a continual challenge.
I like that one. I wish I'd have known that one when I was at Boots. It would have been apt to use in my pharmacy and retail days there. But no,
Absolutely, yeah.
that's a brilliant one. But Doug, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting as always. Really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man with lots of colleagues to look after and lots of customers. But great to hear your plans. Great to hear the work that's been going on, and good luck with all the future plans.
Great. No, thank you, Simon. Appreciate the opportunity.